This episode of Game On brought to you by Ford, featuring voice-activated Sync App Link. Now you can control select smartphone apps with your voice, helping keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. Learn more about the technologies Ford is bringing to its vehicles at Ford.com/technology.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code GAMEON4.
Yo, it's Sunday, April 1st, but don't worry, folks, this episode isn't going to include any false information, like that lying trick Cindy told the cops. Veronica sits down with GameSpy's Dan Stapleton to hash out SimCity. Brian gets terrified into fitness with the new iOS app Zombies Run. And the sweet music of the glowing stars is made for us live in studio. Whoa, we promise this isn't a hallucination created by indoctrinated influence. It's simply Game On!
For Game On, I'm Brian Brushwood.
And I'm Veronica Belmont.
All right, quick question. April Fool's Day, obviously. Yes. April 1, we got all the presents of the internet. It's my favorite day of the year because everybody makes these little comedy gems and puts them out to the world.
It's either you love it or you stay the heck off the internet for the whole day and just ignore it.
Yeah, no, I love it. This is Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa for me. It's awesome.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa?
Yes, that's not a joke. What's your favorite?
My favorite, I think this year there were some pretty good ones, and we're going to show off a few of my favorites at the end of the show. But the one that I think was really the most creative was the 8-bit Google Maps.
Oh my God, I was going to say the same thing.
And you could do the questing, and I played with it a little bit. In fact, I couldn't figure out how to turn it off, and it was kind of inconvenient because I was trying to map someplace. That was works.
That was like a twofer because obviously the video was awesome, and it was obviously very Japanese-centric because they were focusing on the Famicom, and in fact they had the gag about like blowing on the controller in order to fix the bugs in there. Here we go, right here, and dial-up technology and everything. I thought that was great. And then the second part was the fact that it actually works. You can enable 8-bit mode, and they actually have, if you go to Washington, D.C., you can see the White House on there.
And you can go to Street View, and the Street View is 8-bitified as well.
Yeah, they take the actual, all of this is, I guess, algorithmic. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, so there were some really great videos, too, that we'll show, like I said, at the end.
So that was probably my favorite as well, but the ballsiest, the most brazen one, do you realize on the front page of the Steam store, if you go to steampowered.com,
yes,
it just has the Half-Life 3 logo. It says, now available, the end of the series for $59, and you click on it and you get Trollface Gabe Newell.
I think the worst thing is that since it is a Sunday, since April Fool's fell on a Sunday this year, I think people were less prepared.
Really?
Like, I felt less prepared. I felt like I wasn't expecting April Fool's as much, or maybe people would kind of forget. You're not at work. You're not maybe not online as much as you normally are.
It's plugged in.
And so I saw a couple of things, and I was like, wait a second. No, this is definitely not a real thing.
I love.
I get tricked. I'm very gullible. What can you do?
That's all right. Well, hey, in case you didn't know, we record live every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern at live.twit.tv, and be sure to tweet reactions to us live at TwitGameOn on the Twitters. If you don't, send us hilarious japes, then our producer OMG Chad sits lonely in the corner of the studio, tearing apart soda cans in frustration. He's a very angry boy. Please make his life easier, won't you? Hit us up at TwitGameOn.
And remember, immediately after Game On ends, our LAN party Shut Up and Play begins. That's where the cast and crew of Game On plays against anyone who wants to join in. Tonight, it's Counter-Strike Source.
Love that game. But since you are too busy uploading Living Doll makeup tutorials, here's a whole week's worth of news and the system update. Update on the Wasteland 2 Kickstarter. With only 15 days to go, Brian Fargo's dream of $900,000 for the sequel every RPG fan wanted, but no one thought would ever happen, is closing in on $2 million. However, that's still short of how awesome the project could potentially be. This week, Fargo announced that should they reach a tally of $2.1 million, the project will add Obsidian's Chris Avallone to the team to help make W2 a reality. Avallone boasts titles like Planetscape, Fallout 2, and Fallout New Vegas on his resume. Fargo says Avallone will focus on pushing density and literary content in the development process.
SOCOM fans, stand down. Sony has confirmed that Zipper Interactive has been shut down. The creators of titles like SOCOM and Mag fell victim to the dreaded, quote, normal cycle of realignment, unquote, for Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios. The last title for Zipper will be Unit 13 for PS Vita, which will still be supported, including the daily challenges. This news comes on the heels of a massive restructuring at Sony, which announced forthcoming cuts to games and jobs after a horrifying financial report predicting a profit loss of over $450 million.
Hey, remember when Double Fine's Kickstarter happened and people were like, I don't want to put on utopian glasses and pretend that this is the end of a traditional model. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to put on utopian glasses and pretend like this is the end of a traditional model. Well, we have our first evidence that Kickstarter might also be a viable method to fund games not created by Tim Schafer and Brian Fargo. Video game funding of all stripes has exploded since the Double Fine experiment. Here are the numbers. Since the Double Fine debut, nearly $3 million has been raised for games even after you remove the Double Fine funds. In comparison, Kickstarter had only raised $1.7 million for all video game projects since the site went online. There have since been 9 projects that have broken the $100,000 mark, previously only 1.
Have you sold an Xbox that you used on Xbox Live? Well, your credit card number could be available to some grubby-fingered ne'er-do-well. Really? Ne'er-do-well again? Researchers from Drexel University claim they were able to pull a card number off a refurbished Xbox unit after installing some simple hacking software. Microsoft has responded by saying the Xbox is not designed to store that information locally, and that all hard drives are wiped when refurbished. Also, they take these things very seriously. They then scowled and folded their arms to show how seriously they take these things. Not really, but probably.
And finally, yet another twist in the ever-expanding Hall of Mirrors that is Mass Effect 3. After a blizzard of fan rage about an ending widely regarded as unsatisfying, many fans have cobbled together evidence that may reveal the final acts of Commander Shepard as one of the most brilliant, thematic, and unnecessarily obtuse twists in video game history. A video entitled Shepard's Indoctrination edits together a staggering amount of evidence, which leads to a possible clarity to the final moments of ME3. The question now is, with BioWare admitting information on, quote, content initiatives is coming this month, how would fans react to a DLC that better explains the last temptation of Shep, specifically one with a price tag on it? All right, Veronica, so you know I continue my leisurely pace through Mass Effect 3, which I'm still enjoying, even though I had a very unsatisfying end.
Wait, you're not done yet?
No, I'm taking my time. Oh. I threw a hissy fit because of how everything broke down with the Geth and the Quarian. I didn't handle that very well. But the important thing is, since you finished it and you took a look at the indoctrination theory, what's your opinion on that?
I'm tired of thinking about it.
You're done?
I'm
You're just putting the whole thing behind you?
I'm kind of done. It's very, I love the way he edited everything together. A lot of it makes sense. A lot of it comes right from the codex, but I don't know if they were thinking quite that far.
I see, and that's the problem. This could be brilliant, but there's very little chance that it was actually, this is BioWare's thing. So if they do put it out there, and if they charge for the answer, I mean, whatever BioWare puts out, now it's going to be tough to actually catch up with the freaking fan-made answer to the whole thing.
I know, but I love that fans are still going at it and still trying to figure out, like, why this is happening the way it is. And I'm still ready for BioWare to either give us the DLC so we can be done talking about it, or just let it, fade into history.
I don't know. We'll see. Oh, well. Well, that does explain the ending clearly and definitively. And the question is, will fans feel it's cutting content out of a story to make an extra few bucks of it? Or if so, do they have a right to do that? But the important thing is, now hear this. And when I say that, I mean please, because they're paying us. It's an ad. Game On is brought to you by Ford, featuring available voice-activated Sync App Link. Sync App Link allows you to control select mobile apps from your smartphone with simple voice commands, helping you keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. With Sync App Link, you can voice control apps from Pandora, Stitcher, OpenBeak, Slacker Radio, iHeartRadio, and NPR right there in your car. You can take advantage of new apps and features, including Sync Destinations, where you get access to navigation and directions through your compatible smartphone. On NPR, you can get the latest breaking news and play your favorite NPR programs. And on iHeartRadio Thumbplay service, using simple voice commands, you can find your saved station, skip to the next song, even give a song a thumbs up. Sync App Link is best of all built on an API platform, enabling Ford and app developers to bring in-vehicle voice control to more apps without you having to update the App Link software in the vehicle. Ford has a Sync mobile application developer network that enables developers to contact Ford about their app ideas, allowing Ford to bring them to you faster. You can expect to see a lot more Sync-enabled mobile apps that could go along for the ride in Ford vehicles. To learn more about Sync App Link and other Ford technologies, head on over to Ford.com/technology.
All right, so we have not seen much more of SimCity than a few pieces of concept art here and there, but one man has seen it in action, and that is GameSpy's editor-in-chief, Dan Stapleton. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
So we have been sharing our mutual love of The Sims and of SimCity for years now. What is new with the brand new SimCity? SimCity 5, or are they just calling it New SimCity?
Well, they're not even calling it New SimCity. It's just SimCity.
Just SimCity.
Yeah, and but there is a lot new about it. Pretty much everything is new about it. I mean, it's been 9 years since they made the last. SimCity 4 is the last one in the series. There was SimCity Societies, but that wasn't really a SimCity game. It was some kind of an offshoot. This one is pretty much from the ground up rebuilt, and it looks pretty fantastic for the most part. I mean, there are some caveats to it, but it looks great.
So we haven't seen any actual screenshots of the game yet, but we have seen a lot of concept art. What can you say about the visuals of the game?
And it is very much in the tradition of the SimCity style. I mean, they are trying to stick very loyally to what the series has always been in a lot of ways. I guess it's the creative director is a guy named Ocean Quigley, who has worked on every SimCity since SimCity 2000, which was the second one.
Well,
oh, wow.
I thought it was the first one he didn't work on.
Yeah, except that one. So
okay.
He worked on 2000 and up.
Gotcha.
He's very much into the architecture of like Manhattan. He said it was his favorite city. So if that gives you a perspective. But one thing they're really going for in this one is trying to make different types of cities look different. In pretty much every other SimCity, you tried to build up to the metropolis, like the futuristic megalopolis, I guess. And in this one, you can do that, but you can also go for an industrial city or a very green city. So there are very different varieties, and they'll have very different looks to them.
I noticed in your preview that the buildings are getting a lot more modular. Places like the fire station and the police station, there's more that you can do to them. Is it getting a little too granular?
And I had that exact same question, because what they're doing is taking those cities, and you can put down a basic fire station or a basic school or a basic police station, and then add on to those. Like for a fire station, you can add on an extra fire engine, a spot for its fire engine in there.
Mm-hmm. So it can service more areas.
Right.
Or more people.
And that'll enhance it and increase its potency in putting out fires. But you don't have to do that. You can also just put down more fire stations, just like you always have. So this is just another option for doing it, and it doesn't necessarily have to increase the amount of fiddliness there. But it's a very Spore-like system, in that you can tack these things on.
On that same subject, what about the individual Sims? Are you able to click on them like in Tropico and see their individual happiness and make adjustments in that regard?
That, to me, is one of the most fascinating things about this one, because it's not... previous SimCities have been what they call statistical simulations, where they've got kind of a general idea of what's going on, but they don't know what each individual sim is doing, because that just took too much computational power. But 9 years later, they can do that. And they can track 200,000 of these little guys individually. And every time you see somebody on the street, every time you see a car on the street, that is all individually tracked. That is a person, or they call them agents.
And like each one has their own likes and dislikes and ambitions and things they want from the city?
It's not quite the same as The Sims. They're not that complex.
Okay.
But they do want to be happy. And to be happy, they need money, basically. Money does buy happiness in SimCity. And it's not actually having a pile of money that makes them happy, but it's exchanging that money for material goods.
So they like shopping.
Right. They are shopaholics.
I can relate to that. Okay.
And if they don't have money, then they either leave the city, or if they're already low class when they run out of money, they can become homeless, and you can have a homeless problem.
Oh my God, that's awesome! I just realized I just shouted, "That's awesome!" to having a homeless problem.
Yes, finally, what I've been waiting for in a game.
That rocks.
So one of the big advancements, of course, is that you can do multiplayer now. There's a multiplayer aspect to it. How does that change how you build your cities, and can you still have a regular, enjoyable single-player campaign without integrating the multiplayer side?
You can definitely play by yourself. And the way it works is there's a region. And they had these in SimCity 4, I believe.
Yes, I remember that. They went around the borders.
Right. So it's similar to that, where you've got a bunch of different cities on the same larger landscape. And they're all interconnected, but you don't actually jump from one to the other, or there's no two players are interacting on one city. The way you interact is you can send resources back and forth, and this is another big change for the series. Is they've now got a supply chain economic model in there, which has kind of spilled business simulation into this city simulation, which is going to really annoy some libertarians, I think. But it's an interesting new layer of it. In order to make money, you can mine like coal, for example, was one of the examples they gave. You can also get iron or wood or all kinds of raw resources. And then you can either just sell those, and you can sell those to other players, or you can sell them to the world market, which is fluctuating based on what everybody on their servers is doing, buying and selling. Or you can refine them into better goods, and eventually you can like have cars that you can sell, and cars you can sell for much more than the raw materials.
Do we know yet how many different people can be on a server at one time? How many different cities can interact in that area?
The servers they weren't clear on. The actual people that you'd be interacting with would be probably no more than 10 people. And in order for them to have a spot on your region, like your board, you have to invite them. Okay. So it's not like you're jumping in, and I'm sure they'll have like an option to do that if you want, but it's not like you're jumping into a crowded area and trying to do your own thing and people are messing with it.
And if one city is very polluted, for example, that will spill over into your city if they're near you, right?
That's right. And same thing with homeless problem. If somebody near you has a homeless problem, that will spill over. And also positive things do that. Like police.
Not just hobos and pollution.
Right. Which, yeah.
It's the most pessimistic Sim City yet.
But yeah, if you've got a lot of police and fire protection, that will spill over as well.
Oh, good.
One thing that was kind of interesting on that was that if there's a river flowing through multiple lots, multiple city spaces, if there's somebody at the top of that river polluting it, the river will be polluted for everybody else. You can also, if I'm selling water to your city, if the pipe that connects it is going through a bunch of pollution, without having a purification plant through there, I'm selling you polluted water.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
there I go again. That's
you can screw with people.
That's awesome. So just to clarify, the game, you do have to have Origin installed in order to play it, but you don't have to be connected at all times? Or?
That's not entirely clear yet. What you do have to have, what we do know, is that you absolutely have to have an Origin account. Now, whether or not you'll have to have the software installed is not clear. They actually haven't decided on that yet. And I strongly urge them to not mandate that. What they did clarify, and what was not made clear at the event, and a bunch of people went out with stories saying that you have to have an always-on connection, and that's not exactly true. When people think always-on connection, they think what Ubisoft was doing with PC games
right.
A couple of years ago, where if you had a game going and your internet connection dropped, even if it was a single-player game, you would get kicked out of that game. So that's not what this is. This is similar to Steam, where you have to be connected to start up the game. But if your connection drops, you're fine.
But it's not going to be a turn-by-turn kind of game.
It's asynchronous multiplayer.
Cool.
So if somebody leaves, like if we start a game, and because these games can last, dozens of hours, they'll go as long as you want. There's no real endpoint because it's just a simulation. But if I start playing with you and then you go off and decide to do something else for several weeks,
as I do.
As
you step away from the monitor.
That is your prerogative. You're a busy lady. So if that happens, your city continues to exist, and it continues to exist as it was. It just doesn't develop, is my understanding. They're a little bit wishy-washy on exactly what will happen. They said they will try to handle it gracefully. So if you log on and I've been polluting everything, all of a sudden you won't be hit by a big cloud of pollution. It'll be a more gradual thing.
Gotcha. So how friendly is this going to be for modding, for example?
They say it won't be at launch. They won't have a whole lot of stuff exposed at launch, but they do say they have laid down the groundwork for modding. They've made it so that there are a bunch of variables. It's a very complex simulation, but they're all variables that you can alter. So once they've got it launched and gotten it off and running, and probably done some expansion content, they say they will try and expose it to modding. But they haven't made any specific promises, but they do seem very enthusiastic about the idea, to the point where Ocean Quigley was saying that they recognize that people are still playing SimCity 4 to this day because of the modding community, because they basically rebuilt it from the ground up. And they do recognize how important modding is, and I quote, "We're not idiots."
All right, we got a few viewer questions from the Reddit. From Villerno, he asks, Has anything been streamlined in comparison to 4? Do we still have to worry about routing power and water just the right way to make things work?
They haven't been specific on how that works exactly yet, but there are definitely still power lines. I think it's similar to SimCity 4, where things that are adjacent, you probably don't have to manage those, but dragging a power line from one kind of suburb to another, you still have to do that if you want the power to be networked.
And before the show, we were gossiping a little bit, and you'd mentioned that there's no grid. Everything is just lay it out wherever you feel like.
That's right. It's no longer on a big thing like a piece of graph paper. You can draw your roads wherever you want them to go. They can be curvy.
Great.
And then it's no longer set up so that you have to lay down your zones and then try and get roads near them. Now you put the roads down and build zones around them, so that you don't have those kind of orphaned zoning areas where you couldn't get a road close enough so nobody will build there.
Gotcha. The next one comes from Neshcom. He wants to know, SimCity Societies made SimCity very approachable to a wide audience, but it lost a lot of its niche appeal. Where does SimCity 5 sit in relation to SimCity Societies? Was it approachable, simplified, intuitive?
It doesn't look simplified, but it does look intuitive. It looks like they've put a lot of work into the UI, which is still in progress. But it looks like it's easier to use than SimCity 4, but not dumbed down. If anything, there's more to worry about in there. I mean, the one thing I was kind of disappointed about is like the big thing that's changed in the past 10 years is that broadband internet has become like an essential utility, but they don't seem to have that represented in there.
Weird.
Yeah, if I were a sim, that would really affect my happiness if I didn't have broadband.
Dude, I can relate. Pit 5000 says, running a city in real life involves lots of politics. Will the game take into consideration political ideologies in economics and socioeconomics? If so, will individual sims have their own political leanings that increase or decrease the effectiveness of city policies and programs?
The individual sims do not have political leanings, as far as I know. They made a point of saying these guys are not as complex as somebody out of The Sims 3, for example. And even they don't have political leanings. They don't have like individual traits or anything. But what there are, politics are represented in that there will be kind of lobbyists or special interests that will come in and say, hey, we want to build a coal plant here, or like a mega corporation will come in and try and get you or will offer you the opportunity to build their facility in your city. Alternatively, like a environmentalist will come in and offer you an opportunity to build a giant park that will be very expensive, make your people very happy. So it's not ideologies as we would see them, or in the really political sense. There's no Democrats and Republicans in there.
All right, well, when the game comes out, you'll have to come back on and talk more about it with us.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm going to pollute all over your city. And send all my hobos.
It's not a threat, that's a promise. Here come the Veronica hobos.
All right, you can find Dan's work at GameSpy.com and on Twitter at Dan Stapleton. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, fitness is of nothing if not a personal journey. In my case, it turns out to be a George Romero-fueled nightmare. Interested? Find out more in this week's App Diction.
Hey, Brian Brushwood.
What?
Your house is on fire. You need to leave.
You'll burn stuff out.
Your kids are stuck in a well and need rescuing.
They're good swimmers.
It seems like nothing is going to get you off your duff today.
Nope.
Not even those zombies.
The hell was that? I ran around my block for 10 minutes.
Relax, Jellybean. You were motivated by fear. In your case, a specific fear of zombies. Everybody has specific fears, Brian. Fears that drive us to crazy physical peaks. Let's hear a few of them now.
Honestly, I'm afraid of squirrels.
What's my greatest fear? Easy. My brother Ryan.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
Nothing.
What am I really afraid of? I'm afraid of 50 Shades of Grey outselling my book Nocturnal, which is out this week.
The hell does that have to do with me?
We can use your fear of zombies to get you off your chubby bum and lose a few pounds with the new iOS app Zombies Run. It's an immersive experience where you are a runner in a post-apocalyptic world crawling with zombies. While tracking your actual steps, it gives you goals, like picking up ammo or medicine, all the while motivating you by letting you know how quickly the zombies are closing in.
Sounds great. But can fear really motivate you to run that hard?
Don't believe me? Here are some other fears that motivate people.
I'm afraid of mean-spirited robots.
I'm afraid that the white guy from Tech News today is going to bore me to sleep again. I'm sleeping.
Hold on.
Wow, that's amazing. I guess fear is a motivating factor. I'm going to download Zombies Run right away.
That's if the zombies don't get you first.
Yes! Clean my minions! Wait, Sneakers, come back. Come here, buddy. Look, there's all this over here. Nom, 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 nom.
All right, so I should point out that I seriously, sincerely, personally am in love with this game. I've been using it for 2 weeks now. Today, I just ran my longest time since I've run like in 6-7 years. I ran 7.5 miles today. I've lost 5 pounds since I got the app. Now, I'm not going to say it's all the app. I mean, this is all part of me trying to get my lazy ass in shape. I know. But I will say the biggest benefit of the game is not the actual, the gimmick that everyone hears about is the zombies on your tail, better run fast. And there is part of that. But what gets you into it is the fact that they are telling a narrative all centered around you through all of these third-person perspectives. You start to feel a bond with Able Township. You start to get jealous of what other cities have. As you run, you pick up different items that you use to build up the population in your town. I can't say enough about what a neat idea this is and how novel it is. Now, my only question is, I'm about halfway through the whole story arc, and I don't know what they're going to do long-term as far as telling more chapters to the story. But even when you finish a run, let's say you finish a story arc, it goes into radio mode, and it continues to play your music, but then in between the breaks, you get two people who live in Able Township talking about, the local gossip or the news, and I just can't say enough about it. It's awesome. Zombies Run is a little bit pricey at $7.99 on iOS, and Android is coming soon in the spring, and we want to give a huge, huge thanks to everybody who helped out with our little skit, including Logan Decker from PC Gamer, Ryan and Josh Connolly from Film Riot, Scott Sigler, whose new book, Nocturnal, comes out this week, and of course, Hodor himself, Christian Nairn? Nairn, who you can follow at Christian Nairn.
Yes, I'm so excited for Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So excited.
Is that on tonight?
Oh, is there something on tonight? I don't know. I didn't realize.
Well, hey guys, don't night soil yourself just yet. I can't believe I just spoke those words. There's a bit more to come here on Game On. We're going to chiptune our faces off with a live performance from the Glowing Stars. Then we count down the video game franchises with the best music ever in this week's Leet Sheet.
You know that new product or service you've been looking for? Well, listen to this.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. Squarespace.com has an easy-to-use UI for creating and managing a website or blog. Plus, it's optimized for both beginners and CSS experts. They recently created a developer-friendly CSS editor that allows you to pop out the entire window in full screen, colorize code, undo, find, and replace. There are hundreds of design templates to choose from, and you can customize any of the designs to fit your needs. They recently added 13 new template redesigns with 85 new style options and 2 brand new templates. There's tons of online resources and a special support team to give you personal help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Squarespace even offers free live webinar classes to help you get the most out of your Squarespace site or blog. For a free trial, go to squarespace.com. Sign up for a free account, and if you decide to purchase, use offer code GAMEON4 and get 10% off your first purchase on new accounts. That's squarespace.com, and the offer code is GAMEON4.
All right, our first ever live act has created a unique chiptune sound all their own. Please welcome the Glowing Stars! I'm in the band now.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? So, how did you guys start making chiptune music?
Someone a long time ago, I used to be in this band that used the Game Boy kind of poorly, just by playing games and pausing and unpausing it when I wanted a certain sound. When someone saw me doing that and was like, hey, there's this really cool thing called LSDJ that actually runs on the Game Boy and lets you write whatever you want. And that was like 2001? But I didn't even know Lizzie yet then.
Yeah. I didn't meet till like 2005, but we were in a different band together. That's how we met. And then when that band broke up, we're just like, let's start another band. Let's have it do with video games. All right.
How long have you guys been touring as the Glowing Stars?
What, a year and a half about now?
We started December 2010. So.
And who have you been playing with?
We played our first show with Onamanaguchi.
Nice.
And P-Lander Z, who are coming back into town.
Who else have we played with? All kinds of chip artists. We played with Crash Faster, who's also based in San Francisco.
Right, and our friends Awkward Terrible, who just had a really cool new music video that came out, are from Milwaukee, and they came down and we did a split release together. And yeah, it's been a fun ride.
So what kind of technical limitations do you hit using something like a Game Boy to make music?
The Game Boy can only play 4 notes at once, and one of them is so.
But that's my favorite note.
Well, yeah, that's the cool part about it too, is that you're forced to do things like really fast arpeggios and one channel playing a kick drum and then playing the bass line and then like playing a bass note and then playing a melody part and then going back and forth, and that's like the iconic part of it is this like frenetic kind of fast-paced stuff, and it gives us more energy. It's great. The limitations have become this like effusive pouring of creativity for us.
So it's a good place to start, and then you can take it into kind of a post-production space and play with it a little more after that.
Yeah, I mean, we try to keep it a little raw, I think, but yeah, exactly. It's a really good starting point.
So what's next for you guys? Like, what do you want to do with this kind of music? Is this something that is, I mean, it's really been blowing up the past couple of years with, you know, there's been so many different soundtracks for movies lately that have been featuring chiptune and 8-bit music. Is it something you want to keep doing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's kind of hard because we're both really busy.
Yeah.
But we have gotten, you know, people offering to work with us and have our music be a soundtrack or like...
Well, like Scott Pilgrim kind of stuff comes to mind for sure.
Yes.
That's awesome. So will you stick around and maybe play a song for us at the end of the show?
Absolutely.
Today? All right.
Maybe.
Maybe. Thank you so much, guys. All right, Brian, I'll let you take it from there.
Oh, my God. I was unprepared for the awesome sauce injected into my ear holes. That was freaking amazing. Thank you, guys. And speaking of awesome music, we asked you, the Game On Faithful, to compile a list of the best music in video game history, and here's what you guys came back with.
Initiate countdown.
All right, guys, let's talk about the best franchise music. Number 5, the Chrono series. We're going old school here, but it's a non-linear narrative story where our heroes weave through prehistoric misadventures and epic quests in a post-apocalyptic hellscape, which means you know you have to bring the goods when it comes to a soaring score. And Chrono Trigger brought the goods. The marching thump of the main theme drives home this purpose and precision to the main goal. And seriously, take 5 seconds and listen to the Undersea Palace theme and tell me your hairs don't raise just a little off your arm. Number 4, Nier. All right, this soundtrack is amazing for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it's completely atmospheric in a range that skews all the way from holistic organic massage parlor on one end to holistic organic massage parlor that probably is haunted and also a hostel, like from the movie Hostel. Secondly, for the futuristic game, composer Kiichi Okabe requested that vocalist Emmy Evans write lyrics in Gaelic and French using invented words that she believed would be used in 1,000 years' time. But armchair linguistic babble never sounded as awesome as this. Number 3, Persona. There are a lot of really great soundtracks to games with down-tempo scores, but there are far less of those scores that aren't just Enya knockoffs better suited for a colonic clinic. Persona is the rare exception. There's a relaxing hue to the majority of the themes, peppered with appropriate vocals that add tension when appropriate, but never really clutter the gameplay. That's not to say it never raises your pulse. Battle scores crackle with a melodic bop, making the clashes all the more cinematic without trying to epic everything to death. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda. Come on, walk up to anyone under 40 and ask them to hum the Zelda song. Seriously, do it. You're going to be harmonizing your hums in the name of Hyrule in no time. Where to start? The iconic rumble of the main theme is a dog whistle for adventure. There's nothing that isn't better while you're listening to the Zelda theme. If I'm ever elected President of the United States of America, I'm going to ask that they play this theme while I get sworn in. And when they say no, I'll ask if I can have earbuds in. And when they say no to that, I'm going to try to move around blocks until they say yes. Because that's what you do when this music is playing. Also, in Ocarina of Time, you can play the Titanic theme. I don't know if that counts for or against this, but it needed to be mentioned. Number 1, Final Fantasy. Here's the ultimate test for a chiptune score. Does it transcend the technology it was born into? Put another way, when you listen to it now, do you hear the full orchestra, the punching horns, and the booming timpanis that clearly lives below the squawks and beeps? Final Fantasy has about 1 million of those, and that's why they're number 1. Dude, they wrote freaking operas in these games, and they rule. The only arias I pay attention to are the ones on Game of Thrones, and I can listen to them all the way through. The battle is won, Final Fantasy. Enter the world as champion to the tune of your own fanfare. Now, keep in mind that the folks who picked this, these are the folks at twitgameon.reddit.com. So if you want to play next time, you better check out the website, twitgameon.reddit.com. Oh, look, we've got a Daphne theme for April
Daphne
1.
took over.
Yes, she did. But I'll tell you what, we specifically want to thank Balthazar, the tech kid, Gord McLeod, Joshua Caleb, and the billion people who suggested Final Fantasy. But seriously, before we go any farther, the problem with music is that it's so subjective. You got so many personal memory. We got to go through some of the ones that didn't make the list. A bunch of people brought up in the chat room Command & Conquer, which at the time had a revolutionary soundtrack on the, I guess it was Sound Blaster, not quite ad-lib days.
Absolutely, and I was sad to not see the Uncharted series. I feel like I bring up the Uncharted series on every episode. I'm kind of a fangirl. But Greg Edmondson is one of the best composers. He also did the music for Firefly.
Oh, this is Drake's right here.
Drake's theme.
Look at this, you just got all misty-eyed. That's adorable.
It's so good. I mean, he is, if you've ever seen, I'll have to do a tour sometime for the show, but the soundstage at LucasArts is just unfreaking believable.
Wow.
When you have an entire symphony orchestra in there playing this music, I mean, you get chills. I mean, the lengths they go to do this kind of stuff now is incredible.
Well, and that's the thing, because right now...
It's different. I mean, it's a different kind of composing that they do now than they did
Absolutely.
back in the old days.
Well, and that's what I wanted to point out. Back in the old gaming days. But that's the thing. It's like, you look at something like Skyrim, which I'm also surprised Skyrim didn't make the choice.
Fantastic music.
It's fantastic. They had, like a 30-person chorus to do the shouts and stuff. There's so much power and majesty behind it. But where I have a real fondness for are the early days when there were severe technical limitations. Like nowadays, we have chiptunes that's seeing a renaissance where we're all nostalgic for the early days of music. But like on the PC side of things, I got 2 picks I want to hip you to. On the PC side of things, did you ever play Star Control 2?
No, I haven't.
Star Control 2, released in 1991-92, was the first video game to use mods. There you go. Yeah, that's the Earth Space Station theme right there. But the mods had 4 samples. Back in the day, this was revolutionary, man. That's awesome. I like your DJ look. But then on the flip side, on the console side, you got to remember that here in the United States, the TurboGrafx-16 was up against the Super Nintendo, the Super NES. Super NES was rocking its 16-bit sound, but with the TurboGrafx CD attachment, listen to the clarity. Here, play. This is from East Book 1 and 2. It's like this is real music, right? This to me was the turning point when it was no longer about the limitations about what was in the hardware, but instead about the vision of the musician.
Well, we have some actual musicians here on the set tonight. What music did we miss? What would have been one of your picks,
What
guys?
should have been on that list?
I'm actually surprised that you guys didn't have Katamari Damacy on that.
Na.
We do now.
All right, good. Well,
Matt, any pick?
That's all I ask for.
I'm nuts about the old school stuff. Dude, Mega Man. The Mega Man series is my big thing, and the composing in that was it like really took as much as they could out of those chips, those limited chips. Can I play something real quick?
Yeah,
of
course.
This is my favorite Mega Man tune ever, Napalm Man.
I can do in a bench.
That's right. We're sort of limited. People.
there's three voices at once, man. You get so much out of it.
I think the solution comes to the chat room. Clearly, the elite cheats need to be the top 15 in every category now.
I know.
That's the only way we'll make everyone
happy.
happy.
Stuff in the gaming world. It's just too much. Good suggestions,
Awesome.
guys. All right. Well, yeah, I think there was a little bit too much JRPG represented on the list this week.
JRPG? Oh, Japanese RPG.
Yeah, I think we might need to do a little more editorial control on these things. No, let the Reddit do its thing.
You got a problem? Go to twitgameon.reddit.com.
Maybe I should have said something in the Reddit. All right. Well, anyway, moving on. When the lights go out on Game On, you know it's time for Shut Up and Play, the TWiT LAN party produced and hosted by Glenn Rubenstein. In fact, he's here right now to tell us all the details, including how he ended up with a pie to the face last week.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Tonight, Sunday, April 1st, we are playing Counter-Strike Source. If you want the details on how to get in on that, go to TWiT Live 3, the chat room on the TWiT IRC server. Also tonight, 2 grudge matches coming up. It's going to be epic. We're going to face off. Who knows what will happen? But next week, Sunday, April 8th, we are playing Unreal Tournament 2004 once again. And if you want to RSVP for that, send an email to landparty@twit.tv. Next week, also, we're going to have Rock Band in studio, which means Brian Brushwood and Veronica Belmont showing off their vocal abilities for your viewing pleasure. So, what reason do you have to stay and watch the TWiT LAN party Shut Up and Play tonight? Well, sometimes things like this happen when I lose big time at NBA Jam.
You lose. Good day, sir. Good day, sir.
Oh! My God. Oh, poor Bill. He didn't deserve that.
Glenn's first concern was whether or not it was vegan whipped cream. he was totally unprepared as he was trying to. He was in the middle of asking, like, okay, best out of 5, best out of 7, maybe.
It's in my mouth.
It's in my mouth. It was not vegan, and it had expired a month ago. So that smell took forever to wash off. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Inquiring minds want to know, was it vegan?
No, it was not.
Oh.
Thankfully, it didn't get in my mouth.
Cruel.
Oh, thank goodness.
Cruel jokes.
Well, hey, don't forget that if you're in the market for a new gaming laptop or PC, then look no further than our friends over at DOGHOUSE Systems. They are the company that provided us with these ass-kicking game machines we use every single time during the LAN party, and we love them. If only we could make love to them. So if you're ready to level up, use the code GAMEON at checkout, and they will double your memory for free. Click on the banner ad on our TWiT homepage to learn more about the Double Your Memory promotion.
Well, from the demented smirk creasing the face of OMG Chad, I'm guessing we have enough tweets to talk about. Hello, Sir Chattington.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, that's creasing. You couldn't make a crease in your face if you tried.
I don't think I could. So we have some great tweets. Troll Dan says, make sure that you tell Brian that the Steam April Fool's joke is at store.steampower.com with 2 P's.
Oh, so this was...
It was a trick. We got tricked.
We got tricked.
We got double tricked.
I got tricked. But
You got double tricked.
I got double tricked. See, you would just push it on me. I'll accept all the blame on there. Whoever pulled it, it's epic win sauce. Congratulations to you, Sir Steam Powered.
Well done. Well done. Anything else?
We do. We also have from California, Carl. He said he just finished his taxes and he wants some advice on what to do with the $100 he's going to get. Do you guys have any advice for... California Carl?
Gosh, I guess the question...
Is it bad to set up a donation PayPal?
What, for us? No, I'll tell you what you should do. You should go buy the album from the Glowing Stars. Are you kidding? That's a slam dunk right there.
Or buy like 10 of them for $100. Or what, like 6 of them?
Yeah.
20.
20 of them. Wait, the whole album's only $5?
Well, it's just an EP.
Where can people go?
glowingstars.bandcamp.com or just the glowingstars.com.
Glowingstars.com.
Yeah,
give them all, throw all your dollars at them.
Yeah, please, we'll take it. Sure.
Fantastic.
Right. And then also, Sir Cheeto mentioned, sandals with socks, Brian, and he is talking about this.
Yes. Clean my minions.
When up there,
my
you
own
see your
sandal
socks.
That was intentional. That was, if you look, I tried to frame the shot so you could see.
That can never be intentional.
Dude, I was showing my fat gut hanging out. You better believe I was rocking that for hilarity's sake.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Maybe it was just very comfortable.
Actually, I got nailed on for wearing socks with moccasins with my slippers one time.
You're not supposed to wear socks with moccasins.
Extra warmth.
You don't wear socks
extra
with mocks.
warmth. Socks and mocks. Socks and mocks.
It's good enough for Tenacious D. It's good enough for me.
Final thing. MK Alaski says, no Hitman on the score list. I'm not surprised. Don't be surprised if you see a bald guy with a suit and a barcode tattooed lurking around your studio. And with that, did you guys happen to see the Hitman trailer that just came out? It's only
did
about
it just
2 days
drop?
old. It is, and it is awesome. So
Can you give us can you throw us a little tidbit of it? Did you just really set up a clip and then don't even have it for us?
Yeah, I don't.
All right. Well, we'll take a look at it in the after show.
I learned a new word, sockasins.
Sockasins, of course.
Sockasins. So I'm going to rock the sockasins. I don't care. That
sure.
makes it, yeah.
Veronica
extra
Belmont,
warmth.
she don't care.
All right, well, next
Visceral.
week, we have some very exciting stuff. We have a first look at a documentary on Japanese arcade culture. And again, thanks so much to everyone who chipped into our Zombies Run segment, including Hodor himself, Christian Nairn. And we would like to remind you that Game of Thrones, the second season, airs tonight, Sunday, 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Or every other Sunday for the next couple of weeks. Yay! I'm so excited over on HBO. But first, we have one final performance of the evening by the Glowing Stars.
Take it away, guys.
Takes me a quake with no control. My heart turns to cold. If I can hold it, just the blood running down my back, down my back. If I can hold it, just because of the heart I lack. There's no missing contagion. I sink through the floor. A piece of bread land, so much more. If I see cold, it comes the blood running down my back, down my back. If I see cold, it's just because of the heart I lack.
Ow!
Oh my gosh. Plus, there's a ton of awesome, funny stuff.
I don't know if the song is done or not.
Is the song over?
I'm not sure. This is the most amazing thing we've ever had. On Game On.
No.
We broke the band. They froze.
I knew it. There were robots. Oh! Stars, FTW, wow!
That was rad. You guys rock.